Hey guys, cruising. I got like 6 hours of driving today, but there's something that came through for me that I know I need to share with everybody. And what that is just that pay attention to how you feel after you engage with things, after you engage with work or family members or, any relationships or anything that you do. Pay attention to how you feel afterwards. Do you feel drained, or does that person, place, thing feel fulfilling for you? Because I think a lot of times in life we normalize doing things that drain us, or being in relationships that drain us, or whatever, just because we think that's something that we should check off the box in life, and like, that's supposed to be there, that has to be there, so I have to endure this. And that is just a belief system that you've created within yourself that's been kind of warped since childhood, based off of our programming from, our families, maybe our religious backgrounds, maybe just how the world is in general and our cultures are in general. So we just establish these patterns every single day. We're engaging with the same people, we're working and doing the same things, and we think that the only new things, or the only things that can really fill our cup, we have to just do that in our spare time around all these things that don't fill our cup. And to me, that's just ass backwards, because what we really need to do is create a new belief system around how we want to live our lives, doing things that actually fill our cup, believing that we can have a job and it doesn't have to drain us, it can actually fulfill us, believing that we can be loyal and we can be, have a family or have a friendship or relationship with a family member, and we can be loyal, and we can both have that reciprocation, we can both fill each other's cups. It can be a relationship where you engage, and when you walk away, you're feeling fulfilled, right? You're not feeling drained. And so where do we establish these boundaries in our life? Where do we start making different moves? How do we start reframing our belief systems around what we have to do or what we're doing on a day-to-day basis? So that's all that inner work. And that's what I think right now, the energy in the air, and the energy for February specifically, is really to dig deep and do the inner work and reframe these belief systems and reframe the way we look at what our day looks like. Because it's not being present to just have the same thing that we do every day. And you know how spirituality is very paradoxical. The more you know you don't know. Plus, the more you know that there's so many different perspectives, there is no one right answer. Everything's a paradox, right? So I say all that if you're in the present moment and you're just milking it for what it is, but you know that you have these belief systems and that it is about changing your perspective and recognizing you have options. I think a lot of people don't realize that they have options. They think this is my only option. I'm in this contract, this energetic contract, and whatever thing it may be, it's energy, right? It's not that you literally sign this piece of paper. Maybe it is, but it's all energy, okay? So it's this thing that you think you have to do, or this person that you think you have to please or engage with or have in your life in a certain capacity or so much, right? So you just have to sit and really, if you're not alone and you're not with yourself, you're not doing this inner work, you're not able to hear the answers that are coming from you, the only person they can come from. Because if you run out and seek everyone's advice, they're going to share with you from the perspective that where they're at in their frequency, where they're at in their life, based off of the things they've experienced in their life, which really have nothing to do with you. Unless you're like twins or something and you from birth, you've spent a significant amount of time together, like a sibling or family or something, and still their experience is so vastly different. even if you were raised in the same environment. So my point is like, nobody is going to be able to give you that advice. It's going to have to come from you. But if you're so distracted and so drained by all these things that you think that have to be there, and you don't, or you feel stuck, you don't know how to change. You don't know how to change that situation. You don't know how to move out of it. Because at the end of the day, we're still human beings, and we have to operate within this matrix, right? So if we don't do that, we don't create that space to receive the answers. And so we just stay looping. We loop and loop and loop in relationships, in work, in everything. And these things that are really just attachments that we have to let go of. And we have to start learning that sometimes when we're reaching externally to go shopping, or just like drink it away, or just like go hang out with someone because we don't want to sit with ourselves, like in the end, you're gonna walk away from that situation. You got a quick high. Now you feel drained and you have no answers, and you're just looping in this pattern. So like, we really have to get quiet with ourselves. Like, we cannot be afraid to be alone and sit alone. Until you love yourself, it's going to be really hard to attract a tribe that also is going to value and love you too. So yes, are we supposed to be alone? Absolutely not. But we need to learn how to be alone before we can be in these healthy relationships. Otherwise, they will be just forms of draining attachments every single time. We really have to get to know who we are and what we really want, and and know what that looks like. If it comes into our life, if something comes into our life, does that align with my highest good? Is this what I actually want? Is this something that's going to fulfill me? Is this aligned with my path? And you can just ask Spirit those questions. The answers will come. You'll intuitively know. You just have to trust yourself. And trusting yourself comes with loving yourself. It's like resisting the temptation to do something that you know is going to drain you, but it'll be like a quick little hit of adrenaline or dopamine or whatever it is in the short term. But does it serve you long term? Is it going to serve your future? Are you repeating a cycle? I've spent so much time alone since July that like everything, it's like to the point where I can't settle. And I don't want to say that like in a negative way, but it's just like, because a lot of the things people are like, I'm settling, it doesn't even necessarily mean it's some bad thing. It's just not in alignment with you, right? So a lot of times detaching, you could be detaching from something that really doesn't look on the outside in the 3D like something quote unquote bad. It doesn't have to be labeled bad just because you detach from it. But you know once you start to sit with yourself, you start to get to know what you want. And it's a disservice to yourself if you know what you want, but then you go and you engage in something different than that, just for the sake of having something, just for the sake of what X, Y, Z, you fill in the blank, whatever that is for you. So you do yourself a disservice in doing that, because that time you spend doing this thing that really isn't in alignment, you could have been spending like doing things that fill your cup and raise your frequency and lead you to the next phase in your journey that's on your highest path. But that's really what Spirit wanted me to come through with today, because that's what's been falling on me today. Whenever something's really deeply falling like on my heart, it's usually something that is also a similar pattern happening in the collective that is connected with my videos, who regularly watch my videos. So if you are trying to force a square peg into a round hole right now, I advise you, I'm not telling you what to do, I would never tell anyone what to do, but I would advise you to just sit with it. Don't engage, just sit and see what happens. Because I know, like for me, if I'm about to do something, and it's not necessarily anything bad, so that's why sometimes discernment can be hard, right? if I'm about to do something and I start feeling really anxious about it, instead of going and forcing myself to follow through with whatever plan I created, I'm going to sit with how I feel, the anxiety or whatever it is, and then I'm going to establish what is the best thing for me to do in this moment, right? And sometimes it's not easy for like me. The Libra in me is a people pleaser for sure. So to break plans is a big deal for me. To disappoint people, big deal for me. And there's trauma related to that. It's not just about being a Libra. Everything is so intricate. Everything is so different for each person, right? But anyways, I sit with that anxiety. I sit with those feelings and I ask myself, okay, what is in the highest good of me right now? What action or what's the next step or not action sometimes? So for me, lately it's been like, no. Like I'm trusting myself more. Why? Because all this time I've been sitting with myself. I've been loving myself more. I'm more confident. I'm happier because it's coming from me. I'm not asking for it in any other person. No friendship, no family, no relationship, no job, nothing like that. It really is just coming from me, spending time with myself and learning more about who I am and things I've been through and understanding what my highest path is and how to just surrender and flow into that. If something falls into place, it's meant to. If something's feeling like it's a little bit forced, okay, so are you going to take that message and do what? Keep forcing it? Or are you going to start flowing and like, you'll start to realize, for all you people pleasers too, other people aren't as disappointed as you think they're going to be when you like have to set a boundary, or more so like disappoint them, like canceling plans or, you know, any type of disappointment. When you are just 100% real and people actually care about you, like good people, those are the type of people you should want in your life. They actually care about you. They understand. You know what I mean? They understand. So you don't have to drain yourself trying to please everyone, even the people that are going to stick in your life. Like, you don't have to drain yourself pleasing them. If you need extra self-care because you're an empath and you have to ground that energy and you have to like clear a lot and be in recognition that your energy is sacred, and so you consciously have the intention of protecting it and being conscious of your environments and the people you're with and not giving into peer pressure. Like for me, it was hard because like I'm not saying I can't or I don't sometimes enjoy it, but being in large crowds, not my thing. I'm way too sensitive. On top of everybody's energies there, it's sensory overload. Too much noise, too bright, too loud, just too much, like too much, right? And so people used to be frustrated by that aspect of me. I remember in my relationships, like further in the past, not with Lance or anything, like people would, oh no, Lance would get frustrated by this too. People would have a hard time because I would just like want to stay at home, or I wouldn't want to go somewhere if it was going to be too much, right? And for them, they don't understand because they don't experience all that sensory stuff in the same way I do. But for me, I had to get past that. I had to be like, I had to learn to set really big boundaries with people who don't understand that. Even like with my in-laws and stuff, they never got it, and they want to go places all the time. I remember when we lived in California, we were at Legoland, Disney. We would just be all over the place doing stuff, and I would get burnt out. And thankfully, part of the time I was pregnant, so I had a great excuse to stay home. But like, people don't understand, and they take it the wrong way, and they think you're being rude, and it's really like, hop into my body for a second and feel what I'm feeling, you know? But that's just like an example. And I share that one with you guys because a lot of us that are even watching spiritual videos, we're sensitive people. So we can relate to that. And it takes a lot to set, especially when you have a big heart, to set those boundaries and like speak up for yourself and really clear that throat chakra to be able to honor your sacred energy. So I think that honestly is probably going to be the title of this video, Honor Your Sacred Energy, because that is what I'm feeling right now. Like for this month of February, like hardcore honor your energy. So anyways, I better get off here because I'm driving, but I love you guys, and I'll be on when I'm called to be on. All right, bye.